basically, let's review them here. We got Israelites, right? Then we have these different kingdoms that ruled, and we've got Greek, Roman, Byzantine, Arab, Crusader, and then after you've got Mamluks and Ottomans. These are two Muslim dynasties, and then the British Mandate and so forth. So keep these periods in mind, because I'll say this is Roman, this is this, this is that, as we go through here. These were palace complexes built basically in the Umayyad period, what we've got here. But that is these structures we see. But what we're going to see in there dates all the way back from the time of Solomon on up to contemporary stuff. Take a look at some of these things here. These are remains from that they found archaeologically around here. Don't touch this column. This has got an inscription on it. Right there, L-E-G-X. Do you see that? That's the 10th Legion. That was the legion that was stationed here in Jerusalem following Hadrian's victory over the city in conquest. And so these are, well, in fact, this says Vespasian right here, V-E-S, Vespasian. He's the emperor whose son Titus took the city. So the 10th Legion was stationed here when the Romans conquered the city in the first conquest on. And you'll see 10th Legion things here and there. That's just because that was the Legion station here. What you've got over here are the remains from ornamentation on Herod's temple. Now remember, we have Solomon's temple, but we have almost no archaeological evidence of this whatsoever. But Herod's temple, there's quite a bit. And these are stones that were once, see this little slight curve? It's probably part of an arch, right, over some door or something. You see this is the side of an ornamented wall, probably up on the side of a wall. You can see the interlocking geometric patterns and the flowers. We saw those, see all these different floral motifs? That's how it was decorated. Okay, we don't have lots of images of people, but we have lots of geometric patterns and lots of floral motifs. And, that's what's left. There's a few other pieces, but that shows you exactly what the temple, how it would look like in terms of patterns. This too. See these geometric patterns? All these stones. This one, and those over there. These are all fragments from the walls of the temple that collapsed and was destroyed by the Romans, and then these are the pieces that are left. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, let's go. Yeah. What we're doing now is descending into the coolest part of the whole day. This is a little underground museum that they built in some of the storerooms and so forth of the Umayyad palace. So this dates from 7th, 8th, 9th centuries AD, but a lot of it is reused stones from the Temple Mount. Now what they've turned this into a museum about is kind of about the concept of Jerusalem. And this is a medieval map that they've kind of turned into a thing, but Jerusalem is conceived as the center of the universe. It is a crucial spot in Christianity and Judaism and also Islam. And you can see here how Christians conceptualize 3 continents, Asia, Africa, and Europe, with Jerusalem right in the middle, which, in a way, it is. Over here, you can see the name Jerusalem as it appears in all sorts of different ancient texts. Okay? Jerusalem, there's Latin, there's Hebrew, there's Paleo-Hebrew, there's Arabic, there's a different way in Latin, there's Akkadian, there's Greek, Armenian, and so forth. So these are texts ancient texts where the name appeared in various ways. So lots of different versions of the name Jerusalem. These are the ways medieval people conceptualize the temple. In fact, all these illustrations are in my book called Solomon's Temple Myth and History. So you can go read all about it there. But see, this is a stained piece of painted glass. This is a Renaissance painting with Christ crucified above the temple, which is the Dome of the Rock, right? But they made the temple look like the Dome of the Rock. They did this all the time in ancient paintings. Here's the espousal of Mary and Joseph, with the high priest there, and in the background is the Dome of the Rock, the temple, right? Here is how they read Ezekiel and try to understand it. This is the Dur Europos synagogue. Here is what they think the temple, this is a fresco from a synagogue in Iraq on the Euphrates River, where they think the temple, this is the temple. It's from about 250 AD, so a couple centuries after the temple was destroyed, and they depict it as a Greek temple. Looks just like a Hellenistic temple, right? Now that's the Jerusalem temple. Here's a coin from the Bar Kokhba revolt. In fact, I just bought one of these coins. I actually found one for a couple $100, usually about 5,000. This is a 15th century painting of the temple, and it looks just like a cathedral. This is the destruction of the temple by the Romans. See, here's all the Roman soldiers marching around, and there's the temple. It's a cathedral. So everybody conceptualizes and imagines the temple in different ways.
How much is your book, Brother Amber?
How much?
Yes.
I don't know. It's pretty cheap on it. It's like $40 or $5. Now these are artifacts that are found here. Here's another 10th Legion, see? Legio X, Leg X, that's 10th Legion. F is for Fraternity, which means the, here's it all fit together, means the thunderbolt. Over here you can see some jars. Here's some coins. This is kind of interesting because they found these in little stalls. I'll show you where the stalls were. These were little markets. And see these coins? These are money changers. This guy was a money changer. He collected the coins and gave them shekels that they could use in the temple. What was the problem with ordinary money on the Temple Mount?
Images.
Had images of foreign gods, and that meant you were bringing an idol into the temple. You couldn't use it. You had to change your money into special shekels that were permitted on the temple. And this is the shop of a money changer. And they found these right in the stalls we're going to look at. This one says here, Korban in Hebrew, and it has a couple of birds hanging upside down, meaning they're dead. What does that mean?
They're sacrifices.
This is sacrifices. You come and buy the birds to be sacrificed. See a little stall with birds here? So when Mary came to offer her 2 doves, when Jesus was, she offered the sacrifice for Jesus, remember in the beginning of Luke? She would have stopped at a shop like this, maybe even this exact one, and they know right where these were. I'll show you in just a second. This guy's weights and measures. He's measuring food, and they have these stone weights, and see when they're slightly off, they'll drill a hole, add a little lead to make sure they're exactly right, or chisel off a piece so that they're sometimes not exactly the right size. Okay, so these are all artifacts that they found up on the Temple Mount up there, or in the digs rather below here. Okay, keep going.
10 years later, the archaeologist Elad Hazar
it's like a wagon. Here's a counterweighted thing where they use those bars that clip on it, and you can hoist it up, and they have people walk or pull ropes with this. So these are just different illustrations of kind of the engineering behind the building of Herod's temple. Okay. Okay, what are we going to see here? Yellow. We're looking in the red area and the green area. So we're going to walk all along the southwestern and southern walls of the Temple Mount and just go through all the archaeology that's there. And here you can see the things that they've got. There's a Herodian street, and there are markets along that street. There's parts of Robinson's Arch. You can see that giant arch that's out. All that's left on that arch is these 2 lower layers. The rest of the arch is gone, and then there's these foundation stones over here on the other side. Okay, we're going to see the Umayyad Palace. We're going to see some houses, and then the gates, the steps up to the gates. What's important about them? These were the steps that led up to the Temple Mount. There were several different ways to get on the temple. Robinson's Arch one, and those steps are another one. So we'll go take a look at all of this. And it's all in this southern section. What's this mosque right here? Al-Aqsa Mosque, Dome of the Rock. Okay? And our early thing, we went all along the western wall there, all up to Via Dolorosa, and then we circled around.